to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again, my co-hosts, Richie Schneiderite and Chris Nalwasky. Guys, a big win last night for the basketball program, beating the crap out of the Nittany Kitties from Penn State, 65-45, holding them to their lowest offensive output of the year. We have some recruiting updates. We have some coaching staff stuff to talk about. So let's just dive right into it. Rutgers at the Jersey Mikes, at the Rack, whatever you want to call it, whatever, moved into sole possession of second place in the Big Ten last night with a 65-45 win. Guys, what did you see from last night's game? Were you both at the game, by the way? I know Richie was.
No.
I had other stuff. But.
Okay. Yeah. Rich, you were there. What did you see out of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights last night?
Well, first off, I'm calling it the Rack. Until Jersey Mike's guarantees me a free sub, it is the Rack. I thought about this the other day, and I can't dive too deep into it, but you know how they do it at arenas, if the other team misses 2 free throws in the second half, free hot dog.
Yeah.
Free Jersey Mike subs.
Give me my Frosty. Give me my nuggets.
Yeah, free Jersey Mike subs makes too much sense. But anyway, line out the door. I got stuck on 287. People got stuck on Route 18. It was just absolutely packed. They turned away students from the student section. We'll get a little bit more into that later. But they just overbooked the student section. It was just an absolute madhouse. Now, mind you, if you looked at the first 2 minutes of the game and looked around, you'd be like, where is everyone? What the hell? But it took a couple minutes, just like football. It happens all the time. People just late getting in, late getting there. Crazy atmosphere, crazy game, a lot of defense being played, a lot of missed shots from one team specifically. And it was just a great game for Rutgers. That was basically a Steve Peichel type win, 20-point victory, held the other team to 45. That you can't ask for much better than that. That was just a phenomenal effort from the team.
Yeah, 20 below the speed limit. Their previous low output of the season for Penn State was 59 points. Their previous biggest loss of the season was by 13. So this was a pretty big measuring stick game for Rutgers. Chris, what did you see out of the game last night?
Yeah, just sticking with the defense. I mean, the 45 points is the second lowest that Rutgers has ever allowed in a Big Ten game. They gave up 37 against Michigan State a couple years ago or last year, whenever that game was. But yeah, Michigan or Penn State was making 10 3-pointers a game, and they went 4 of 26.
Yep.
I mean, they did get a lot of open looks, but they didn't knock them down. And this was a game where Jalen Pickett was most of the ball handler, and Caleb McCown did a fantastic job on him. Rutgers just played extremely well last night. Cam Spencer has been in a little bit of a slump, but he did nothing, and Rutgers still won by 20. So, that says a whole lot about the team. They didn't let the Michigan State loss last week, affect them at all. They and we've kind of seen that so far this season. They haven't been on a good losing streak or anything like that. So, they're not carrying a loss into the next game mostly, except for the Ohio State Seton Hall thing. But that was a whole different story there. But they just the defense has been insane all year. They're up to I think the number 2 rated defense in the country or something like that on KenPom, or I think I might have read that wrong yesterday, but it could have changed.
3.
They're also
but
3.
It's right there.
Right, so,
yeah.
Okay. So overall, Cliff had a big start to the game. And they just dominated Penn State inside. Michael Shrewsbury called his team soft, and he said Rutgers played, quote, grown man basketball. So that's always a good sight to see, a good, something good to hear if you're Peichel.
Absolutely. And this was a game that, Pike has challenged his guys all year and last couple of years, honestly, about rebounding. And we've seen some really good rebounding performances from the team the last few games. They only allowed 3 offensive rebounds to Penn State last night. Mm-hmm. They won the overall rebounding battle 43-26. They allowed 0 second chance points on defense against Penn State. So this is a team that's really starting to kind of get better at rebounding on the fly. I mean, Penn State's not the biggest lineup either, so we should be getting those rebounds. But, it's nice to actually see it in action. Rutgers had a really good game on the glass last night.
Yeah. No, that was huge. What was it, you just said a 20-point or 20 rebound differential, something like that.
Almost.
Yeah, 17.
17. Okay, so yeah, and on top of that, like they're the 11th best 3-point shooting team in the country, and I know they had a lot of open looks, but they also got defended on quite a bit of looks too. They went 4 of 26.
Yeah,
that's 15% from three. You're never going to win a game like that. The
Nope.
Big Ten's leading assist leader, Jalen Pickett, had 2 assists. No one was open. He couldn't do anything. I said it before the pod. That man held onto the ball. Like, he played ISO ball for most of the game, it seemed like, and no one was just moving. No one was getting open. Yeah, Seth Lundy hit a couple threes here and there, but everyone else was just like quiet. And usually Rutgers has struggled, or Cliff has struggled in the past against smaller bigs, and that's kind of what Penn State kind of did. They threw everything that they could at Cliff in the first and throughout the game. First half, they had 24 points in the paint, Rutgers, and Cliff was just dominating. Cliff dominated the 4-star freshman in Keba Ng. Then they tried Miles Dredd, who's like a 6'4", 6'5", like chunky guard, and that didn't work either. Then they threw someone else at him. I forget who it was. Another big man they had, and they just couldn't do anything. They had no answers for Cliff in the first half. And I shouldn't say I'm concerned, but my only concern would be like from this game would be like, why did they just shy away from Cliff? I feel like Cliff was dominating in the second half. They were just like, yeah, now we're just gonna like hold on to the ball and like just play to win. And I'm like, no, you don't. We learned this after the Houston game. You don't play to win. You keep playing your normal basketball. But I mean, overall, can't complain too much because they did end up winning by 20. And Andre Hyatt came out of nowhere with like these fucking contested threes and just like cash. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was going to mention Andre Hyatt. So I mean, he had a good game a couple games ago. I think he had like 10 points or so. Then he was quiet, the last couple. But at this point in the game, he came off the bench. I think he had 14 points or 12 points. Yeah, 14 points. He had an 8-0 run himself, and that was kind of right after Penn State had cut to 39-34, and that was kind of that was basically the turning point of the game. Hyatt hit a couple threes. He had that dunk off the clip on Murray's seal block, whatever you want to call it. So. Hyatt was really effective last night, but the only thing about Hyatt, like he can make those shots. He could play really really good defense, but if he's able to be more consistent and off the bench, add that other really good element there, Rutgers will be extremely hard to beat if he could be more more consistent and scoring the ball like he can.
That's a great point. He's been such a spark plug off the bench at points throughout the season, but you're right. He has been inconsistent. I think they showed a graphic last night at some point, like the previous 5 halves before the second half last night, he hadn't scored a point. He was 0 for 13 from 3. And then he just comes in and just totally changes that game because Penn State made a run. We had a 10-point halftime lead. They cut it to 3, and then the Andre Hyatt show started, and he scored 14 points in the second half. Really just kind of stepped on the throat of Penn State last night. Yeah, we need Andre Hyatt, especially come tournament time and towards Big East tournament or Big Ten tournament time. I do think that it was nice that Rutgers bounced back in terms of defending from behind the arc too, because Penn State, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten, top 10 nationally in the entire NCAA. The previous 4 games, so against Michigan State, Ohio State, Northwestern, and Iowa, Rutgers' 3-point defense is actually really bad. They allowed those 4 teams to shoot 42 for 97. That's 43% from beyond the arc, which we were allowing teams I think around 25% throughout the whole season. And then we just held the best 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten to 4 for
26.
4 for 26, 15% from beyond the arc. So that statistic will be a little rubber bandish. That could bounce, pretty drastically from one game to another. But it is nice to see that trend of defending well from beyond the arc continue. Even though they did allow a fair amount of open looks, 3-point shooting is going to, be streaky by nature. Look at Cam Spencer right now. That's something else I want to talk about. He's in a slump. He's just got to keep shooting his way out of it. I think we've all realized that, Cam is a dude and he's going to bounce out of this. But, his last 2 games, he's 2 for 11 from beyond the arc. He hasn't gotten to the free throw line nearly as much. He's only got 1 free throw attempt in the last 2 games. this is just something that, he's going to have to shake off. And he's definitely not a guy who's short of any confidence. It's just, he's got to see a couple go in. I think the streakiness or the hot streak will bounce back. It's just, it sucks to see him out there not performing to his standards and to what Rutgers expects of him at this point.
Yeah,
it's just how shooters are.
He's already kind of broken out of slump already. This year he started the season really well. Then he went on a little slump right after that, and then all of a sudden he picked it right back up, and has been ever since until the last couple of games. He had the big shots obviously against Purdue and everything like that, and Northwestern. So, but yeah, I think he'll bounce back just fine. He does more than just shooting. So, I think once he gets in the groove a little bit again, I think he'll be all right. So, but actually, you mentioned free throws. I want to bring that up too. Rutgers has been, even without Cam now, they've been shooting really well from the foul line. They were 15 and 19 yesterday, and Cam obviously, he wasn't a part of that. So. That's obviously a great sign for Rutgers if they're able to get 3 points from the free throw line. That only helps with scoring. Rutgers doesn't score a lot, so if they're able to get to the free throw line and knock them down, collectively, that's obviously a good sign as well.
Wasn't a part of it, but he didn't hurt it either.
Exactly.
About from the free throw line.
Yeah, but he normally makes them. So, but he went, they went 15 and 19, without him. So that's.
Now I'm gonna hate on myself here. I'm gonna call myself the jinx. Tweeted out a clip in pregame of Cam Spencer. I was like, man, this guy just hit 7 to 8 shots in a row. Yeah. Then he hit 2 free throws real quick right before going to the locker room pregame. I'm like, ooh, this might be his game.
Yeah,
wasn't his game at all. But yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, he had a 6-game stretch from Coppin State through to Ohio State where he shot 21 of 37 from beyond the arc, so he was shooting 37% from 3 in that 6-game stretch, and that is just not sustainable. And I don't think there's it shouldn't be surprised that he's kind of coming back to earth a little bit. Yeah, but obviously you want to see that turn around.
Yeah, but
one thing I want to mention, going back to the 3-point defense. Maybe this gives, having Penn State go 4-26 gives them a little confidence going into Iowa, this weekend. Iowa was, kind of the first team this year to kind of, really shoot the ball well from deep against Rutgers. Obviously it's at Iowa this time, but, and obviously, no one likes to, everybody puts the previous game behind them, but maybe this gives them a little more confidence in terms of, being able to defend the 3-point line a little bit.
Yeah, plus, they just played at Ohio State, I think last night or 2 nights ago. Mm-hmm. They got the doors blown off by 16 at Ohio State. They play a really tough game at Michigan State tomorrow night. Then they play Rutgers on Sunday afternoon. So they'll be coming in with a lot less rest than Rutgers. I do think that this Rutgers team is very keen on getting revenge when they can also. Sure. So I do expect them to be really fired up for this game. And I don't think, Iowa shot, out of its mind against Rutgers. They were like the only team that can seem to figure out the rims at Jersey Mike / the rack. So yeah, I do expect revenge to be on the mind of this Rutgers team when they go to Iowa City later this week.
Yeah, a lot of common opponents too. I was looking. Obviously in the Big Ten, but both teams beat Indiana. Both teams took a loss to Ohio State. Both teams beat Maryland. They split Penn State. They split Seton Hall. I think this is just a good matchup in general. These two teams they always play each other really tough. And Carver Hawkeye Arena is a tough place to play. So we'll see what happens. But I think Rutgers could pull this off, and it could be a nice your 5th quad win if you get this one. Yeah, 5th. So we'll see.
Yeah, huge game on Sunday, and obviously Rutgers sitting in sole possession of 2nd place in the Big Ten is huge because that double bye in the tournament's a big deal. The Big Ten tournament, they got it last year. If they got it 2 years in a row, man, this is a lot of people like to point to Rutgers as their cute story. As much as we all love Andy Katz, I think he's an outlier amongst the national media regarding Rutgers. There are a lot more people who know of how dangerous the rack is to play at. But I still don't think teams or analysts fully give Rutgers the respect it deserves. So if they finish in the top 4 again, I think it's pretty much cementing Rutgers as a top 5 program in the Big Ten in terms of basketball powers. So.
Sure.
I think that's spot on, and I wanted to piggyback off that real quick. And it goes to show you, Rutgers is second in the Big Ten, and they're not ranked. No other Big Ten team is ranked other than Purdue. Purdue's number 1, and it's like, wow, Purdue's great. They're awesome. They're amazing. Blah, 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 blah. And everyone else is just shit. Like, they're not ranked at all. Like, not one other team. This team's going to get, projected 9, 10 teams in the tournament again, and they're just not going to rank one? They're just going to be like, yeah, the Big 12's great. Oh. I almost did the motion too.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right,
yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah,
you get my point.
The funny thing is, if Rutgers wins at Iowa on Sunday, I don't think that even guarantees them being ranked, which is total bullshit. But they should be.
It's insane.
If they win it,
I don't really care either. So
no, they don't. I think that fuels them. They're like, oh yeah, we just won, quad 2 and a quad 1 win this week. Like, not many teams can say that this late in the season that they just had two big wins in the same week, and we're on the cusp of being ranked and didn't get pushed over the edge. So
yeah, Dickie V not voting for Rutgers.
Unforgivable.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's as you could see on TV or in person, there was a big contingent of recruits at this game. There's a big recruiting visit for underclassmen at the high school ranks. What did you hear about the visitors' feedback from this game, Rich?
Most of these guys got to meet Soraka, got to meet Dave Brock. Wow, can't even remember that. That was bad. So they got to spend some time with those guys. It was just good to get some of them on campus. Some of the 2025s are going to be big name kids. I kind of tweeted the other day and hinted at it. This 2025 class in New Jersey is going to be phenomenal. Like,
throw some big names that people look out for, like guys who are going to be national recruits.
I almost said Justin Willis. That's 2024. Let me pull it up. Like, I know Renick Dorilis, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a Union kid, another DB out of Union that's already got multiple Power 5 offers. Jalen Matthews down at Toms River North, I believe. Toms River South.
The offensive tackle.
Yeah, he's got I think he's already top 100 ranked.
Yep.
Let's see here, Brooks. There's so many running backs in this class.
Yeah, let's see here, Brooks from Millville is an athlete.
John Forrester from St. Joe's, Bashir Sivers from Schneider in Jersey City, Cameron Smith from Salem, all have Power 5 offers. There's just Danny McLeese, an offensive lineman out of Irvington, like Kobe Briller out of Hunt School. There's 35 Power 5 or kids that have Power 5 offers currently.
Yeah, this is all shaping up to be arguably the best class in New Jersey in a decade. It is a very, very high-level class in general. A lot of top-end kids and deep.
Kamar Archie, who's going to be – I don't know why we don't have him ranked. I think it's criminal.
Linebacker out of the Hun, right?
Yeah, he'll be like a top 50 prospect when it's all said and done. He's got 14 offers, and they're all Power 5s.
So I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was the only freshman starter on Hun when he got there because he transferred in from Trenton, I think.
Yes.
But he was starting as a freshman, and a lot of these Hun kids, they're going there like as post-grad. So they're, they're already like, I guess there's a separate post-grad team, so let me correct that. But, they're coming there because they're these massive humans, and he's starting as a freshman. That's a huge deal.
Desi Jones at a DePaul Catholic, he was on campus yesterday. But no, overall, the feeling on campus was just it was a good time, good atmosphere. Guys got to enjoy the game. I found it interesting yesterday, and I should have known this when I tweeted it and posted it on the boards. Rutgers took the helicopter to Susquehanna Township, and I'm like, who the fuck said Susquehanna Township? And I'm looking, and I'm like, there's this kid, Lex Cyrus. He's only got UMass and UConn. And me being stupid and not realizing, they ended up offering him like 4 hours later when he was on campus. And I was like, I should have put 2 and 2 together there. But he's another really good one I'd keep an eye on in 2025. And Rutgers is getting in early, as you just heard me say. It's only UConn, UMass, and Rutgers now. But yeah, no, I mean, overall, there's just a lot of love from the guys. A lot of Paramus Catholic guys came to campus, and Wamanaya, who's got multiple Power 5s. I can't pronounce this. Makai Coutinho, something like that. I apologize on that. So he came to campus. He loved everything. Kaj Sanders, Jordan Thomas, top 2024 in Jersey. Tayron Hale from Millville got an offer. I don't necessarily know how that one's going to work out because I know they have Millville's head coach as their QC. I don't know what the rules are. I know it used to be 2 years, but there's so many stupid rules now. The NCAA is passing one apparently in the next couple of weeks saying like QCs can finally start coaching in practice. Chris, you've seen practice. Tell me the QCs don't coach at every other school? It's just such a stupid rule. The NCAA is that's a different argument, but yeah, overall good time.
Yeah, huge contingent. I think you said 22 of the 30 rows of that left-hand section of the student section were filled with recruits on a Tuesday night in January.
That one's up for debate. That's a rough one.
Well, I mean, it's crazy that we were able to get that many recruits on campus midweek when there's, school in session. It's not like they're on holiday break here.
I wasn't a fan of the idea, but it worked out. So
yeah, I do think the student section was a very impressive turnout by the students. If you've seen on social media, there was a line going. If you know what the rack situation is, a line going all around to past Henry's Diner. Students got turned away. There was that many students. Students started lining up at like 3:00 for a 6:30 tip off. The students, man, they've been showing up like back now that they're back in session. Like they've been such a great, they've just been such a great force for this team. So really excited to see them turn out.
They did great. I feel bad because I saw one of the, I guess, quote unquote leaders of the Riot Squad, Alec, I forget his last name, something with C, I think. He tweeted out, he's like, we came in late and they just told us we couldn't go to the student section. They oversold it apparently. So I don't know where he ended up sitting. I'm assuming he ended up still getting a seat, which is good, but it's a tough sell. Like I know some of the hoops analysts and beat writers were not happy that there was 22 rows of football recruits, but honestly, where else do you put them? Like I don't know what else to tell you, and it's going to be tough in the future too when it's students around the court and not fans and alumni and donors. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, tell us what you're hearing about the rack renovation stuff.
So it sounds like Trenton is kind of. I know it was already probably 75% going to Trenton out of everywhere. They didn't want to share an arena with Seton Hall, which fair enough. I get that. Prudential Center also has concerts and shit that go on throughout the. I know, I think this weekend.
And the Devils play there too. They already got 2 attendance. So
and then they have all kinds of other events too. It sounds like they're going to go to Trenton. I don't know what year. I talked to someone yesterday, and they said a couple years down the line. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, I would assume they're not going to do it when Ace Bailey arrives. So I would assume maybe the year after that. But we'll wait and see on in terms of timeline. But it does sound like the students are going to be moved around the court, kind of like they do at Cameron Indoor, like they do at
Michigan State.
Arena? Michigan State, and it creates a more rumptious. That's a weird word.
Ruckus.
More ruckus, I guess. Yeah. It just creates like a crazier atmosphere to have the students almost on the court like that. I know it's nice the way it is right now, but that's not realistic to keep it that way forever. So I think that it's going to end up putting the students around the court. Everyone else will have the bougie sections, nice sections, this section, that section, and you'll be able to sit. You still have good seats, so whoever's going to complain about it, it's not the worst thing in the world. But that's what it sounds like. They're going to renovate it. They're going to redo that side opening, and then they're going to put them around the court, the students around the court, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and I wonder how much that will elevate even elevate the noise level even more. I mean, we see the rack get up to over 100 decibels now with 5,000 people. The students are probably the loudest in the arena, and they're kind of up high up to the side. So if they're on the court, who knows what they'll do and help the rack be more of a home court advantage as it already is. So and actually going back to the thing where students were lined up outside and couldn't get into the student section. I remember when I was a student, I used to always print out a free student ticket, day of, and just and just go like midway through after class or something. So, Rutgers has come a long way.
They certainly have. They certainly have. Speaking of coming a long way, kind of pivot to NIL talk. Knights of the Raritan made a huge announcement this week. They made an announcement that they are the only program. Rutgers is the only program in college sports to fully sign 3 full teams at that specific institution to NIL deals. So the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, and the football team, every single player on those teams have an NIL deal now with Knights of the Raritan. So huge shout out to those guys and anybody who's a member, anybody who's donated as part of their pledge match. Awesome job. The pledge match is still continuing. I think they're right around $150,000 short of their goal. So keep continuing to donate to that. Richie, you spoke with John Newman earlier this week. What are you hearing regarding that match and these deals they just pulled off?
Obviously, that wasn't the only thing that happened with the match. The match didn't solely contribute to this, I should say. But yeah, no, this is just all about the monthlies and all that other stuff that people have been donating nonstop. It ended up working out really well. Differing amounts for differing athletes for differing sports. There's no set limit for each. Like I know Texas Tech gives like what 50K, or maybe it's Texas, 50K a year to each lineman or something like that. The cool part is that this also includes walk-ons too. So it's not just like the scholarship guys getting this as well. Overall, this is huge for Rutgers, and be able to actually like promote that you're the first of something in NIL is just huge in general. Like you didn't think that was going to happen, considering we thought Rutgers was so far behind in NIL, and they're still a little bit behind. It's not like they're throwing out like millions and millions of dollars. They're throwing out a couple mil here and there, but it's definitely it's a good start, and it's a good start to hopefully something that's going to last a long time with the Knights of the Raritan.
I think it will. And speaking of NIL as well, Knight Society, Rutgers, Rivals, and the front office are all kind of collaborating on an event at the Olive Branch on February 7th. Tickets are now on sale for that event. We'll be there doing a live stream. If you want to come and be a part of it, there are also going to be a few athletes there. I think Riley Tiernan from the women's soccer team and Victor Konopka from the football team are going to be there as guests. Gio's going to be there. I don't know if Eric LeGrand's going to be there or not, but the front office guys will be there. It sounds like they're expecting a huge crowd. So if you want to come, buy tickets now. We can list the ticket site in the details of this podcast and also on the board. But it's going to be fun. We've never done anything like this, and I think it's going to be a fun event for everybody.
Did you say we're recording a live pod there? Is that what you said?
That's what I thought, right? Are we doing that?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I got everything pretty much situated, I believe. Knock on wood. I'm sure there'll be technical issues day one, or hour one, but we'll figure that out. I think we're going to try to do like a live reaction type thing, where we're not a couch. We'll be sitting in one of the booths, I'm sure. Yep. But we're kind of reacting to the game. We'll have a couple guests. We can kind of tease that more down the line, but yeah, and also $2 beers and 50-cent pizza, dude. Oh my god,
that's wild. That is a dream.
This is going to be a banged up live stream. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. And they
take over. I need another beer.
Anybody who follows I think it's it's not the Round Ball podcast. What's the Barstool college basketball pod with?
Yeah, it's Round Ball, isn't it?
Okay, so the Round Ball podcast for Barstool, they recorded an episode there last year for I think the Wisconsin game, before the Wisconsin game. So that anybody who's there last year kind of knows the setup.
You're right. What was the name of that? Court Stormers?
The Storm Chasers?
Storm Chasers, yes. Yeah. You're right. That was it.
So it's going to be a great event. So come out if you can, buy some tickets. And I should say this. All the money raised is going directly into the Knight Society's NIL account. So that'll all go directly right back to student athletes. So it's for a great cause as well. So if you are interested and in the area, definitely attend.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
We've gone through a lot. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on, guys, that you wanted to talk about before we sign off?
Chris, you go first if you want.
Yeah, I guess just one kind of like funny thing in terms of basketball.
Don't steal it from me.
I know Mawat Mag has been
Okay.
phenomenal this season. He's improved a lot. But the guy stopped passing the ball to him in transition. I'm sorry.
Just bowling dudes over.
Yeah, you didn't like him running that guy over?
It's just I don't know. He always fumbles the ball. It's always a turnover. I don't know. But I mean, I like Mawat though. So this is not a shot at him. It's just an observation.
Fair enough. I got to bring it up. So I watched the halftime show. I was so disappointed at one point. She, Red Panda, the legend, had 5 bowls, missed it once, missed it twice. Third time she got it, thank God. But like the first 2, I was like, oh no, oh, and is this it? Is this the end of Red Panda?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't get the bowls on her head. She doesn't get fed that night. So,
Man.
so I'm glad she got the bowls on her head. Good for her.
It was a little disappointing. She missed it twice, and I was just like, even like you could see the reactions, and it was just like, obviously, I'm not going to post that. I'm not going to make her look bad. She's a legend in the game, halftime shows. But I was very impressed by her in the first part, and then just I lost it all. I was so sad.
I've seen her a couple times. She's great. I was thinking about it too. Like, I mean, maybe there's an article on it. Maybe she's talked about it. I don't know, but I wonder how just like one day she's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go on this and bowl.
Throw a bowl in my head. Like,
yeah, it's great. It's great. So
it's something. New rankings coming out this week, by the way. It's not going to be too much. 2023 is changing up a little bit, and it's our final round of rankings. And I don't think there's going to be too much movement for Rutgers commits, but stay tuned.
Nice. Keep on the lookout for those. I don't know if you guys saw Zach Edey was talking about the toughest arenas to play in the country, and he said Rutgers was the hardest. He said it was the most intense. Most places you go to have fans rooting. It's all in good fun, but Rutgers is just nasty. They got that Jersey swagger. So shout out, one of the best players in the country said Rutgers has the hardest arena to play in the country that he's seen. So Rutgers fans, great job.
There you go.
On that, we will sign off. Guys, thanks again for listening. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Please give us a follow to whatever your favorite podcasting app. Give us a 5-star review. It really helps people find the show and really helps us grow the show. So once again, for me, Richie, and Chris, has been another edition of the Nightport Podcast. Signing off.